Good afternoon. My name is Brea. I am a social worker on the St. Vincent's Adult Behavioral Unit at SSM DePaul here in St. Louis. 1 year ago this weekend, my team and I experienced one of the happiest and saddest days we'd ever known when a patient was discharged from our unit. As a team, we learned more from this one patient than we had many others that had come before him. It all started in November of 2012 when a patient, I will call Dave, was brought to the unit after an altercation with his family members. Dave was 19 years old, 6'5", about 350 pounds, and had a public administrator for a guardian. He had a history of being aggressive towards others, which was a huge concern for our staff considering his size. Dave became the one who fell through the cracks. He was shuffled through the system. Changes in caseworkers caused his case to get tossed to the bottom of the pile. Issues with Medicaid also delayed his placement in an independent living facility. Our average length of stay is 3 to 5 days. We never imagined it would take 8 months to secure a place for Dave to live. After a few months, the team realized something needed to change. Since we are not physically able to restrain Dave, we worked on improving our verbal de-escalation skills while trying to think of ways to hold Dave's interest. I worked with the team leader to develop a basic behavioral plan, such as root beer and baby Ruth for good behavior at the end of the day. But this did not work for long. Dave would still get angry. He would throw tables or flip tables, throw chairs, and break windows. So the team began to brainstorm on other ideas to help Dave. Since he enjoyed video games, the team leader purchased an Xbox with Kinect in hopes that he would get up and do a little exercise. This was not as successful as we had hoped. I worked closely with Dave every day and learned that he liked basketball, big dogs, and he really missed his family. This got me thinking. I went to administration and got permission to bring my dog River up to the unit to visit Dave. These were such magical moments for him. He was so proud to show off my dog to all the other patients. He loved telling all the patients how much my dog loved him more than me. River made several visits to the unit. My favorite day was one day when Dave laid on the concrete and River curled up around his head, licking his cheek. My 90-pound black lab looked so small laying next to him. Dave was also worried about his 3-year-old nephew, who was too young to visit on an adult unit. He was worried he would forget about him and not recognize him since Dave had been hospitalized for so long. Working with administration, we got permission for special, supervised, off-unit weekly visits, which allowed Dave to visit with his nephew. These visits brightened Dave's spirits, and he looked forward to them every week. The next level of concern was the weight he was gaining due to inactivity. We got permission to begin taking Dave over to our adolescent unit to play one-on-one basketball with staff. But he needed more exercise than basketball once a week. The team leader and I approached the manager of the wellness center about possibly Dave and I using the facility. There was initial concern about having a psych patient in a gym environment. But with help of administration again, we received the green light after we showed his continued improvement in behavior in the other events or other activities he was doing. Now, I only had to get Dave on board at this point. I told him I needed to lose weight and that I didn't want to do it alone. I asked if he would be interested in helping me. Dave loved the idea of helping me lose weight. And he suggested a weight loss contest. Dave left the unit every day to go work out with me, and he took this contest very seriously. He started making wiser food choices and would even come and check with me to see what I had had for lunch to see if I was doing the same. This was a success. It was a huge success. Dave lost over 20 pounds. Now, unfortunately, I was not as successful as Dave was. While all this was going on, I was also working with the Vice President of Behavioral Health to get Dave's Medicaid reactivated, and we were working with the Department of Mental Health, DMH, to speed up placement. I worked with DMH in restarting his schooling. A teacher came to the hospital twice a week and met with him to work towards his high school graduation. In June, we received the information on where Dave was going to live and when he'd be leaving. DMH had secured him living arrangements in an independent living setting. I was happy with the news, but it was also hard news for all of us. I was worried about staff and I was worried about Dave. I was worried about Dave adjusting since he'd been living on the unit for almost 8 months. I wasn't even sure how I would handle it. I spent at least 2 hours every day with him and another hour working on his case. For me, the most touching moment was when Dave asked if he could have a hug. I don't typically hug my patients, but with this patient, I made an exception. I imagine it was hard to be on the unit for 8 months and not have anyone hug you. We made it part of the plan. If Dave was having a rough day, he could just ask for a hug. It helped him deal with the struggles he was facing with his placement and just knowing that somebody else cared. I started preparing Dave to leave for his new home. But before he left, the staff raised money to buy him a goodbye present. They purchased him a Miami Heat t-shirt and pillowcase, his favorite team, of course. I got permission for Dave to say goodbye to River by taking her for a walk with myself and another staff member around the outer perimeter of the DePaul campus. On his last day, we had a huge goodbye party. His favorite pizza, wings, and of course, as requested, my homemade white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. I worked with outpatient behavioral health and secured Dave one of the uninsured, underinsured spots that would allow him to return to St. Vincent's 3 days a week for free in our severe and persistent mental illness program. We were able to see him and he was able to see us after he was discharged. It was a great transition for all of us. Dave attended the program for a few weeks and then slowly dropped out of the program as he became more comfortable in his living situation. Staff members have seen him out in public over the past year. The last Dave sighting was in May. The staff member said he was happy to report that Dave was doing well. This warms my heart knowing everything we did made a difference. As far as we know, Dave has not been hospitalized in the past year. Out of all the stories and experiences, this one touched all of us the most. This is a shared success story. We all worked as a team. And now we are a more compassionate, stronger, and united team thanks to Dave. We have learned to meet the patients where they are and to think out of the box to meet their needs when necessary. My team believes it is important to share what we have learned as we move forward to remind each other that we can be exceptional. Thank you.